Have you ever had a failed New Year's Eve resolution? Perhaps you wanted to lose weight or stop smoking. Maybe you wanted to stop picking your nose or stealing from your grandma. But whatever it was, it didn't work out. And that's because, according to people who study stuff, 80% of New Year's Eve resolutions fail. My name's Evan, and I want to tell you a New Year's Eve story. It's not all funny. Back in 2007, I was really unhappy. Really, actually quite desperately unhappy, with no sense of how to get out of it. I was 40, divorced, and I had two very small children who I had 50% care for. And it was the sense of responsibility to those kids that had gotten me through that first stage of a difficult divorce. But I found myself on New Year's Eve alone after a series of short-term relationships had failed, some sort of that were fairly trivial, but others that were, one in particular that was intense and really hard to let go of. So I was wandering the streets, woe is me, saying to myself, what is it about me that is so easy to reject? What is it about me, despite my capacity to love, is so easy to walk away from and leave? I was really wallowing in it. So I was walking the streets on New Year's Eve alone, sort of reenacting Harry Met Sally, though I wasn't Harry and there was no Sally. But what there was this night with people celebrating, and there was things going off and noise, and I just found myself there and I started thinking, how did I get here alone? Not just how did I get here as a person, Evan, that you see before me, but how did I get here as a human being? What was the history of evolution that had brought me to this space? And there was something in the air around the feeling of everything that sort of made me feel things through my humanness, through my senses. And I was thinking about New Year's resolutions, and maybe this was a way that I could improve myself and change, because I needed to change for these two kids. I needed to be the best parent I could be. I needed to give them the best life, and I couldn't do that from a place of sadness. And New Year's resolutions were just going to set me up for failure. They were just going to reconfirm that I was inadequate when I failed them. And so I tuned into this sense of being human, and I love a wordplay, so it was New Year's resolutions or a New Year's evolution. And that's what I took from this senses that I was floating around with at that night. And from that day, from New Year's Day, I decided to throw myself into what it was to be human, physically. What did that mean? So every waking hour for the next month, I dedicated myself to tuning in. I listened to the sounds that were the furthest away and the sounds that were the closest. I listened, I looked and saw the sun falling on the buildings. I saw clouds in the sky. I smelled every restaurant, every cafe, hardware stores. Didn't matter, I just let it all in. And I started to become really present. Even the jobs of being a parent became amazing. Folding the kids' clothes or washing the dishes became ecstatic. My hands in the soapy warm water, and I just became happy, really happy. And all my pain melted away because I was creating this incredible moment through my sensory data that we all have, and I was doing it for free. It was overwhelming and beautiful, and I began to heal. And so I called my friend. I've got this friend, his name's Hector Marcel. And he's a Buddhist teacher in New York here. But I called Hector, and he was living in Brisbane at the time, and I said, oh, look, this is what I'm doing. I said, tuning into the world. And he just said, that's amazing, you're doing mindfulness, that's what you're doing. And with his encouragement, I began to meditate. And I deepened that practice and that sense of what it means to evolve. And life is not perfect, and it's been a challenge, but I had a set of tools. I had evolved into this amazing set of tools. And I didn't feel alone anymore. I felt deeply connected to myself and to the present moment, which is so beautiful, crazy, complex. There's so much going on all the time, and we just need to tune into it to feel happy. So I had some challenges ahead, and these tools were what I had to combat the inevitable when it comes. That little puppy actually did nearly destroy all my good work in my mind. But now I'd like to ask you to join me in this moment and to experience what it is to be present. So just look around for a moment at all these beautiful faces that are here and this beautiful room that's been created for us. Now close your eyes. What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you feel? Now open your eyes. As New Year's Eve approaches, I offer you this opportunity to take your own New Year's Eve evolution and lean into what it means to be human. And I just can't wait to see what you do with it. Thank you so much.